Good afternoon, Chairman Rush and Pallone, Ranking Member Upton, and members of the committee. I lead ClearPath. We advance conservative policies that accelerate clean energy innovation across all zero-emission resources. An important note, we receive no industry funding. ClearPath grieves with the families who have lost a loved one to COVID and appreciate the sacrifice of frontline workers tirelessly combating the pandemic and the decisive leadership of this committee. As you consider economic recovery measures for the energy sector, your solutions should be ambitious, but also pragmatic. Too often, energy policy is oversimplified. Renewables versus fossils, economy versus environment, 100% reductions globally versus inaction here at home. These are false choices. The reality is this: solutions for recovery in energy must follow a technology-inclusive agenda. All energy workers deserve a fair shot. Policy should make the global clean energy transition faster and cheaper. Clean investments will provide both immediate aid and long-term economic benefits. Today, I plan to cover the impacts of the pandemic, their likely evolution, and possible policy responses. First, the impacts of the pandemic. Globally, carbon dioxide emissions fell a massive 6% due to the virus. That's nearly half of annual US emissions. But cheering that news is falling into the climate trap. They resulted from a global economic crash. Less energy use is not the key to sustainable clean air. According to the International Energy Agency, a perfectly healthy global economy can simultaneously use more energy and emit little CO2. While energy use has fallen due to closures and quarantines, reliable electricity has never been more essential. Sheltering at home means more Netflix streaming and AC running. Our hospitals need uninterrupted power for ventilators. Factories aren't making PPE in the dark or by hand. Affordable, reliable power is right up there with hand soap as essential for fighting COVID. So what should we expect ahead? Imagine if our hospitals were attempting to rely on 100% variable energy with slim options when the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing. It should make us all appreciate the value of uninterrupted power. Those who have long called for degrowth or limiting capitalism as essential to solving the climate challenge have been disproven. Clearly, the solution to this global challenge is not less economic activity, it's even more growth, more development, more prosperity globally in ways that emit no CO2. Meanwhile, as we debate how much clean energy support to enact during our recovery, China authorized 8 gigawatts of new build coal without carbon capture in March. China's climate problem is our climate problem, just like their virus problem became our virus problem. This is precisely why we don't like the false choice that if China and the rest of the developing world aren't doing anything to slow their CO2 emissions, then the US shouldn't either. The rest of the world is purchasing high-emitting Chinese technology, like their coal plants in Pakistan, because they can't yet afford the green premium required for most clean energy. Further, China's stronghold on many international markets for energy increases their soft power. China's government clearly sees competitive advantage in their early reemergence from COVID. We must move quickly. Lastly, our recent unrest over tragic racial and economic disparity reminds us that many communities of color, some in generational poverty, would struggle to pay a green premium as well. Yet they would benefit enormously from better options for affordable clean energy, for projects that support communities sustainably for generations. There are policy solutions. Scaling up a new technology follows the S curve. Congress can help restart the US energy economy and reinvigorate American exports while reducing CO2 in the coming decades with 4 key steps. And these are outlined in a chart embedded in our testimony. First, we must innovate. A major program of technology demonstrations would put tens of thousands of American innovators and energy workers back to work with nearly immediate effect. Second, unnecessary regulatory hurdles needlessly slow down projects. We can only put energy workers of all stripes back on the job as fast as we can permit the projects, with reforms to NEPA and new source review, as Representative Griffith has recommended. Third, we must deploy technology to prove it at scale and bring down costs. Smart incentives will help innovators learn by doing while putting people back to work, delivering the technologies in the 2020s that utilities will need in the 30s and 40s to reach their net zero goals by 2050. Fourth, we must export the proven technologies to new clean energy markets. American energy manufacturing jobs will reappear when we have products and export support ready for rapidly growing countries like Nigeria to buy. In conclusion, when you're promoting economic recovery, solutions must work with markets, not against them. Falling into the false choices trap means we miss the politically and technically realistic debate we need. Done right, we can advance stronger policies that commercialize the cutting-edge clean technologies needed to create new markets, new jobs, and lower emissions. And when the next pandemic comes, it will face a healthier, stronger world ready to confront it. Thank you again for this opportunity, and I look forward to the discussion.